Jump up and down for this show as we try and get all the calls right. Celebrate the scores and all the points as we gather around to give you and all of your friends the best results. Listen in to Joe as he says, "Hey, what just happened? I don't know." Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
I'm Howard Shapiro. It's a little goofy at the end, but I
always
like
fun
it.
when I get out here and see something I was not quite ready for.
You weren't expecting it. It just came to me, and I had to do it.
But we were expecting, of course, that the eventuality of the end of a season.
Yes.
This week, all the teams are done except for swimming and diving.
Right.
That's an individual section coming up, still a week away. But football and volleyball seasons came to an end. Cross country season, one man standing, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. So a shorter show, but we're going to get as much to you as we can. We start with the football team. While the season may be over, these Cardinals did not go down without a fight. It's tough for a team to play a 5A schedule, then play in the Class 6A tournament. But that's what the hand that the Cards were dealt. Last season, they narrowly avoided a shutout at Eden Prairie, but this year, they put a serious scare into second-seeded Prior Lake, taking this game down to the final drive. If the Lakers didn't know what these Cardinals fans know about number 2, they learned fast. Cardinals getting their big gun going on the first play. Maddock long down the right side. Kyjon Cummings-Coleman just goes up and gets it. 35-yard gain into Laker territory. He finishes the drive with more electricity, turning disaster into dynamite. That's a fumble on the backward pass. No problem. He scoops it up, runs all the way back to the other side of the field. Nice little sidestep at the end, and he's in for a 21-yard score. Coon Rapids strikes first. But Prior Lake is a very solid club, and they have a lot of weapons of their own. Levi Eider with a 20-yard gain right here as the Lakers march right back and respond. Hunter McGilvery finishes it with a 5-yard run to the right side. The game's tied 7-7 midway through the first quarter. Prior Lake has a kicker with a really big leg, and he gives them the lead at the end of that quarter. A 46-yard field goal by Logan Lair put the Lakers in front 10-7. Didn't last long, though. Just 3 plays into the second quarter, Maddock fires it deep down the middle. Cummings-Coleman catches it in stride behind the defense. Ain't nothing going to stop him. 62-yard touchdown put Coon Rapids back in front 13-7. He had 100 receiving yards, 40 rushing yards, a couple of scores. Nice night for C-squared. Late in the half, Lakers offense backed way up, 2nd and 14. Crosby flushed for the pocket, throws from his own end zone, and finds Joey Krause. He gets a block, finds a seam, and turns on the Jets. He's going 93 yards, but he's not getting to the end zone. Edward Tabla, an amazing effort to catch up with him and trip him up at the 1. The very next play, Grayson Spronk punches it in, puts Prior Lake in front 17-13. Controversial call late in the half. Cardinals punting. Krause calls for a fair catch, but then he bobbles it. Cardinals would come up with a clear recovery. However, there was a whistle as he went to catch it. Referees confer and decide to replay the down. Cardinals may have had a chance to score before the half. Instead, it's the Lakers going for a last-second 48-yard field goal. This time, Kenny Wells gets up and gets the block, and that sends us to the locker room at 17-13. Defense has controlled the second half. The Cardinals' defense, which has had its struggles against the run this year, really stepped up and held this high-powered running offense to just modest gains. That may be why they tried to pull this trick out of the bag. Spronk on the pitch, looks to throw. Cardinals recover well. Hunter Thompson swatting away the would-be TD. However, Lair hit a 22-yard field goal at the start of the fourth quarter. This 44-yard attempt would have made it a 2-score game with 2.5 to play, but the 44-yard attempt sails wide. Cummings-Coleman sidelined at the end of the second half, but the Cardinals still had a chance. Other guys ready to step up. Dominic Ullman, nice turn upfield for a gain and out of bounds. On the run, Maddock finds Jackson Smith. First down into Lakers territory. Backed up after a couple of penalties, 2nd and 26. Goes one way, shakes a defender, rolls back, throws downfield. Great grab on the sideline by Logan Stackhausen. That got about half of it back. However, unfortunately, The drive fizzles out. 4th and 15. Maddock does a nice job of extending the play. His throw intended for Ullman. Wants a flag. Won't get it. There were just seconds left on the clock at that point. The Lakers take a knee and end the Cardinals season with a 20-13 loss.
You know, it's a tough one. First of all, you had mentioned at the top that anytime a 5A team takes on a 6A team, it's always a tough matchup. I unfortunately was not there watching it live. I did see the second half.
Even for 6A teams that played a 6A schedule and are highly seeded, like, Champlin Park and Blaine, who both lost in the first round, upsets a 2 and a 3 seed that played a 6A, and they got upset. So for the Cardinals to hang tough, there was there were a couple of those 1-8 games and 2-7 games that were pretty lopsided in the overall bracket. But the Cardinals, you've got to hand it to them, really went in and gave them everything they could handle.
Yeah. I mean, however, I got a chance to see the second half of that game, and I thought that that defense played really well. Offensively, couldn't get it going. A tough holding call late in the game against the Cardinals took them out of a really good field position game. But how was that play overturned on that muffed punt? I don't understand.
Tough.
I don't understand that
because he blows the whistle as Krause is going to catch the ball. I didn't feel that anyone stopped on the play because of the whistle.
Nobody did.
But
Nobody did.
They conferred and they decided that based on their rules, and it's unfortunate. I don't know that it would have changed anything. There were seconds left in the half. Cardinals may have had a chance to a couple of plays and maybe a long boot for Johnny Bootleg, who unfortunately only got out there a couple of times. And the missed extra point was after a couple of penalties.
Right.
False starts.
It pushed them back. It pushed them back. Yeah, I got to watch it afterwards.
Penalties were tough, but what a fun season for this group.
It
really was.
It really was a phenomenal season. I thought they played really, really well. And, they had some really tough matchups in the middle of the season. Elk River, Andover, Rogers, really tough teams. And unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with those wins. But the fact that they finished 4-4, and I think the fact they gave Prior Lake a battle going down to the final buzzer, bodes well for this team. You've got some really nice talent coming back next year.
They do.
And there's a rumor that's floating around there that Kaijon Cummings-Coleman is a pretty good football player.
He's okay.
He is not
and
bad.
Hey,
I'm excited for basketball.
And congratulations to Logan Ness for earning Player of the Week.
Yep.
That's two Players of the Week for the Cardinals this season, and one other that was nominated, Jacob Maddox.
Yeah, and I know Kaijon left the game early, or in that last quarter, but he's okay. Talked to Coach Russin. In fact, he went down to Iowa, got a nice offer from the University of Iowa. So some nice offers for this young man, and he's going to get a lot more before his career at Coon Rapids is done. But in the meantime, we get to watch him in the basketball season starting soon.
We do. Not too far away. There's a look at least that part of the brackets. The Prior Lake and Eastridge advance. Eastridge with a pretty easy time over Totino Grace. Up top, you had Forest Lake with the minor upset over Egan in a tight game and a huge lopsided loss for Hopkins against number 1 ranked Maple Grove.
Those should be some fun games, those 4 remaining ones. Well, the volleyball team had a tough season that meant a monumental challenge for the first round of the playoffs. The Cardinals traveled to Centennial on Tuesday to take on the top-seeded Cougars, a team that racked up 22 wins during the regular season. Centennial swept Coon Rapids in their only meeting of the season, but now the season was on the line, and the Cardinals could play with no pressure and see if they could put some fear into the Cougars. Cardinals fired up and hoping to slide on the glass slipper, their mission to pull off an upset. Their best chance, keep it close. Good turn early in the first set for Tatum Shevchuk. There to finish in the middle. Unfortunately, they got in front early and never looked back. They set up their big 6'3" freshman on this point, Ella Hakey. She gets the kill. Centennial opens with a 25-9 win. Cards do a better job of keeping it close in the second. Solid job holding the Centennial attack right here. Leads to a kill for Chloe Hoffman on the left side. Coon Rapids within striking distance the whole set. But Centennial able to maintain the lead. Cardinals with a couple of chances in the middle, but Centennial turns it into their point. Cass Sasinski had a big night on the attack. She helps the Cougars to a 25-18 win in the second. Centennial looking to end it early in the third. Cardinals fighting for their lives. They set it up for Hoffman in the middle. This time she gets it through. The block to give CR some hope. But Centennial runs away in the third. Coon Rapids on the receive, set up Shevchuk, but Centennial's there for the stuff. That secures the 25-7 win in the third set, and Centennial moves on with a 3-set sweep.
Yeah, it's a pretty good volleyball team over in Centennial. There's a reason they're the #1 seed. Cardinals will lose a couple of key pieces. Chloe Hoffman has been their leading attacker. Kate Califoot. I think there's 6 total, but they also have a number of nice young players that have gained invaluable experience. So it'll be interesting to see what they, what they're able to do moving forward. Couple of girls that are very young that made appearances on the team this year that we'll see for the next couple. The Cougars, not a huge surprise. Made it to the championship, but an upset by the #3 Forest Lake Rangers. And they take the section title with a 3-1 win.
That's huge.
Forest Lake, a couple of upsets to get there. Had to beat Andover, swept Andover 3-0. So
just never know. You hit on all cylinders at the right time, and Forest Lake showed that they could do it, and congrats to them.
It's not if you win games, it's when you win games. Well, the cross-country season isn't quite over at Coon Rapids, with one Cardinal leader set to race in this week's state championship. Well, it's a solid result for a program that has shown impressive progress all season long. Both boys and girls teams had a great day on the course, with almost everyone putting up season or personal bests, and most will be back again next fall. The girls team is extremely young, and they've proven this year that they could be a serious contender for the next couple seasons. Cardinals had just one senior and one junior on the 7-girl section roster, and it was their youngest member that gets to the finish line first. 8th grader Ruby Demmer finishing 16th place in 19:51.24, just the 4th Cardinal to break the 20-minute mark. Freshman Stella Bone is next, taking 31st. Sophomore Lily McKenzie got to the line in 22:23.55. That's 44th. Freshman Ella Legree, junior Kaylee Berman, and sophomore Kendall Martinick finish 46th, 47th, and 48th. Cardinals are 8th place as a team. Boys are a little more veteran and experienced team, and that shows in their run at section. Senior Peyton Martinick has been their leader at almost every meet this season, and he has been a staple of this program for the last 6 years. That continued at sections. Martinick qualifies for state with an 8th place finish overall, smashing his way into the sub-17 club with a 16:47.9. Fellow senior Aaron Casey has a strong finish in 18th. Sophomore Lachlan Demmer is exactly 5 seconds behind him in 22nd. Fellow sophomore Kel Norquist takes 26th in 17:24. And junior Nehemiah Q takes 46th place, helping the Cardinals move from an 8th place finish last year to a 5th place finish this year. And there is Peyton punching his ticket to the state meet. Not the most graceful of finishes.
Hey, he finished and he made it to the state. Absolutely.
17:47. I mean, he just, or 16:47. He'd been trying his whole career. Like I said, he's been on the team 5-6 years, trying his whole career to get into that sub-17 club. He does it at sections, and he does it by 13 seconds.
That's great. That's great. And congrats to him, and we wish him the best of luck when he gets to state. I believe it's, the 5th?
Yep, on Saturday down at St. Olaf.
Oh, St. Olaf.
And definitely our thoughts go with him as he tries to secure an all-state finish, maybe a state championship.
Would love it.
Who knows?
Love to see.
Swimming and diving has had a couple of weeks off. They have this week off, and then next week, sections start on Thursday, and we'll go through Saturday. State will be the following week. Due to that, we will not have a show next week.
Oh.
But we will be back on the 14th to give you results of Peyton at state.
Yes.
And swimming sections, and perhaps somebody going to state for them as well.
Yep.
And then we'll wrap up the fall season and get ready, because we'll already have a girls hockey game under our belts before we do the review show. There it is. The Fighting Bluebirds, open up against Blaine on the 10th, live on CTN. Then on Tuesday the 22nd, we'll see them again against Centennial. First look at the boys hockey team on Saturday the 26th as they take on Ricori. But that is going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying goodnight.